sisters. I'm Marcia.
And I'm Kritika, and we're your trainers from Future Steps.
Today we're going to look at the part two for grammar. If you didn't look at part one, make sure to check out our channel, or maybe we will link it down below. And so check out the part one, and then this is part two for grammar. Welcome to our journey through the building blocks of language. We'll explore how sentences work and learn the rules that make our writing clear and effective.
Okay, so what is a sentence? A sentence shares a complete thought or idea. Every good sentence needs two main parts to be complete. So, a complete thought expresses a full idea that makes sense on its own. So, our complete sentences also require complete thought. And then every time you write a sentence, it should begin with a capital letter. And every sentence must end with a punctuation. So it can end with a period, a question mark, or an exclamation point.
Now let's look at the main components of a sentence. First, we have the subject. It's the who or what we are talking about in a sentence. The subject tells who or what the sentence is about. Example, the dog barks. Subject here is the dog. So we are talking about the dog, and the barks here is the verb or the predicate, which we will talk about later. All we need to know for now is that the dog is the subject of the sentence, and that's what we're talking about in the sentence. And then we have the simple subject. This is just the main noun without any descriptive words. So example, cat sleeps. So the simple subject here is the cat. And then we have compound subjects on the other hand. They are more than one person or thing acting as the subject. So it's just not like in the examples before we have the dog barks, the cat sleeps. It's just one thing, right? But in a compound subject, we have Tom and I play. So this is a compound subject because we're describing two subjects together, right? Tom and I, we both play.
Yep, and guess what? We're doing the predicate now. So the predicate is the action or state. Now, what is a predicate? The predicate tells us what the subject is doing or being. So like Glacia said, the dog barks. And yes, the barks is the predicate. And then there are two types of predicates, simple predicate and compound predicate. Simple predicate is just a word, like ran, jumps, is, etc. And then compound predicate, that is when there's more than one action, like ran and jumped. So if I say something like I ran and jumped, that would be that would have a compound predicate because I did two things together.
Next, we're going to look at subject and predicate together in a sentence. So first we have the subject. It's the who or the what the sentence is about, like we talked before. So Nancy's mother, the hardworking gardener, right? And then we combine them. So every complete sentence needs both parts. So it needs subject and predicate in this case. And lastly, we have the predicate. So what the subject does or is doing, right? For example, we can combine Nancy's mother to is baking a pie. So the whole sentence would be Nancy's mother is baking a pie with the subject and the predicate. And the second example could be the hardworking gardener was stung. So the subject would be the hardworking gardener and the predicate is was stung. And when we combine them, it's a whole complete sentence.
Yep, and now we're going to see types of subjects and predicates. So there's a simple subject, which is just one word names the object. So, for example, cat sleeps. We did talk about this before. For this, the subject would be cat, and it's a simple subject because it's just one word that names the subject. And then we have compound subject, where more than one subject is in a sentence. Like we talked about earlier, Tom and I play games. Then we have simple predicate, which is just the main verb. The boy ran, so ran. Or the compound predicate, which is more than one action. She ran and jumped. We did talk about this earlier, so you could think of this as a small summary of the entire subject and predicate.
Now let's look at punctuations that we use in sentences. So these are the end marks. Every sentence needs an end mark to show that it's complete. We have periods. So these are for normal statements like I like pizza. Like you're saying it in a normal tone, right? Like I like pizza, I like to play, I like to eat. That in those cases, we just use a period. And then we have a question mark. So these we use for questioning. So do you like cake? Or do you like that pink shirt? That kind of thing. So you're questioning someone. That's when you use a question mark. And that's how it looks. It looks like that. Like it has a like a I don't know how to explain it. Maybe it's like a S that's kind of cut into half, and then there's a dot underneath. And then we have an exclamation mark. These are used for showing excitement. So like, I won the game, guys. Like it's excited, right? The tone you say it is like excitement. I won the game. Or I won the first place in that game. So that's when you use an exclamation mark and it's like a line and a dot.
Yep, and I know that a couple of you might call a period a full stop, so it's the same thing. Don't worry about that. And now we have punctuation. So we talked about ending marks. Now we have other marks too, such as quotation marks, which are these things where you do this sometimes. That basically just shows quotation kind of thing. So it shows exactly what someone says. She said, I love reading. So when you're reading a novel or a book, there are usually a lot of quotation marks. It's called quoting a person. So quoting what a person is saying, just like the example we just gave. And then there's the apostrophe. This shows possession or missing letters. So an example would be, it's Anna's cat. So this can also be thought as it is or belongs to Anna. So if I say it's Anna's cat, you're gonna know that the cat belongs to Anna and it is Anna's cat, right? So every time you see it's with an apostrophe, it can basically simplify to it is.
Now let's look at commas. These separate ideas. So commas can be used in many different scenarios, and let's take a look at those. So, and they can be used in a list. I have apples, oranges, and bananas. So you have like the commas they have here, just for your knowledge, are called Oxford commas. So these are when you also have a comma before and bananas or and something. So usually they don't, like in normal sense, they don't use a comma before an and, like when you have a list. But to be more professional and to look more, like more knowledgeable, you can use a comma before an and impress the others around you. Okay, so next time your friend says, oh, you don't need a comma before an and in a list, be like, no, this is called an Oxford comma list, and there you do use a comma before an and. And next, you can also use it for yet after yes or no. So like, yes, I understand you, or no, I don't understand you. And you can also use them in dates. So in the US, you can use them in dates. So it's like June 22nd, comma 2025. But I know in the international, like in India, South Africa, or any other place like Europe, you can just say 22nd June 2025 without any comma. And I know you put the date first and then the month and then the year. So in that case, you don't need a comma. But if you're living in the US, you do need a comma and you start with the month, the date, and the year. Comma and then the year. You can also use them in places. So when you're listing like a specific place, so like Boston, comma, Massachusetts. So you're saying that Boston and then comma, Massachusetts, because you're like telling them a specific area in the place.
Yeah. So now let's think about some practice and wrap up things. So find parts. Identify the subject and the predicate in this sentence. The big dog chased the ball. Well, I gave you the answer, but this is how you should be practicing. So the subject here would be the big dog, and the predicate would be chase the ball. Because what did the big dog do? It chased the ball. And notice how every sentence does need a subject and a predicate. And the subject doesn't have to be just one word. It can be it has to be a part of a sentence. And now fix it up. So add punctuation, like where are my shoes? Or do you remember where I kept my books? Or can I come with you? Or something like that. And remember that that a capital letter so every time you're writing down a question, the first letter should be a capital letter. And usually that's how it is with every sentence, starts with a capital letter and ends with a punctuation. In this specific example, we start with a capital letter and we end with a question mark as our punctuation. And then you can make lists because we learned about commas. So I have a dog, cat, and bird. And remember, we talked about the comma right before the and? Use that if you want to be more professional and knowledgeable and have some fun with your friends. And so this is an example of commas between items in a list, but like we talked about earlier, we do have different types of commas and where we can use them. So, great job learning the basics of grammar. These skills will help you become a better writer. And that's all we have for you today. We summarize everything we learned today, such as subject and predicate, punctuation, and commas. And if if you notice, this question over here also has quotations around it, but in this case, it's not like a novel type, it's a different type of quotation where every time let's so it's where we're giving you an example of this, right? And someone's gonna be saying this. We do add quotations on it, though you're probably like, why do I need a quotation? Well, it's better off that way and it looks more professional too. So that's why quotations would be useful. And we also learn about the apostrophe, which we don't have an example of here, but we did say that it could be used for it's with an apostrophe, which can simplify to it is. And that is all we have for you today. If you have any comments, concerns, questions, comment down below. And you can also comment down any video suggestions, any requests, or you could even email us that. And if you haven't already watched our first grammar video, do that. Just like Lasia said, you should watch that if you want to be really good at grammar. And grammar is pretty simple and easy, so you guys got this. We are all here to help you.
Yeah.
So that's all we have for you today. We'll see you in our next video. Goodbye.
Bye, Stepsters.